Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. I wanted to uh, go over some glyphs that I have on my character and kind of show people why I'm using those particular glyphs. In the Crusaders Guild, we had a question about glyphs that are glyphs that they should use on their pet sorc, and I wanted to kind of quickly go over mine and show you exactly why I have mine the way I do. So first off, when we go to our gear itself, I'm running as much of this in divines as possible. Once again, this waist right here, reinforced. I don't know why I transmuted it to reinforced. It should be in divines. But all of these have max magica glyphs on them. All the glyphs that are on these are Kuda glyphs as well, so they are the highest level of maximum magica that I can get on these gear pieces. most pieces you find out in the wild or in dungeons, when improved to gold, they already basically have a Kuda style glyph on them. The only ones you really need to transmute, or not transmute, but change, normally are like heads and shoulders. Like this is normally a medium right here, so instead of I had to change it from stamina to magica. And with the pauldrons, this used to be health, and I had to change it to magica. So if you're looking for a little bit higher tooltip, you can always go with your big pieces in infused rather than divines. Your big pieces are going to be your head, your chest, and your legs. When you infuse these, you end up getting 1,040 maximum magica instead of 867, if I'm not mistaken. So somewhere in that area, so you can get a little bit higher magica output from it. I am using the Shadow Mundustone, and I am running Mother Sorrow with it. So I'm trying to get as much damage out of that Shadow Mundustone. That is why I am running everything divines. And when I have everything in divines, I do believe it is an 18% increase. Yeah, critical damage increased by 18%. So everything on my body, max magica. Now when I go to my jewelry here, I am running all spell damage glyphs on my jewelry, and I am running 3 pieces of Bloodthirst. This is more of a opinion than it is a necessity, in my opinion. It is how you, it's what you want right here. I like the Bloodthirsty, although I don't use execute abilities anymore, because unfortunately the sorc's execute is, in my opinion, it's not as good as some of the other class execute abilities that you'll find. It's not even as good as some of the other weapon executes that you'll find. But since I'm not using an execute in any way, shape, or form, I kind of wish I would have left these arcane now. Get 870 spell damage, or I'm sorry, 870 magica from your arcane jewelry, which is 2,400 and 210, so 2,610 maximum magica, which increases tooltip. When it comes to Bloodthirsty or Arcane, if you're not using an execute ability, Arcane is probably your better option. Infused isn't bad as well. If you have an infused glyph on here, it takes it to what, 274 or something like, or 264. It adds like another 90 or 90 spell damage to it. So between the jewelry glyph, or between the jewelry infused and the jewelry arcane, there's not a huge difference between your damage output. Increasing your max magicka tooltip is going to put out more damage, so arcane's good. Adding in another 90 spell damage is just about the same as 870 max magicka. So it's not it's not a it's not an even trade in my opinion, honestly. The infused makes your spell damage look good, but when it comes down to it, it's just a few more spell damage than you would tooltip with arcane. So it's not, if you have your jewelry already in arcane, there is, in my opinion, and take that for what it's worth, there's not much reason to use use 50 transmute crystals to change it over. So it's not a necessity. If they're in arcane, you can leave them in arcane. It's going to do you just fine, and you're not going to waste 150 transmute crystals on changing them. If you have 150 to waste and you don't care and you want to try something out, definitely try Bloodthirsty, definitely try Infused, but all in all, arcane is going to be just fine in a lot of situations. Now, my back bar glyph, I am running an infused lightning staff, and with the infused lightning staff and my champion points set up the way they are, that shock damage glyph on my back bar goes to 4,249, which is a good bit of damage, and it goes off more often than most people would think. So, you'll get it to go off 1-2 times every rotation. I mean, it's going to go off at least once. A lot of times you can get it to go off a second time, especially with this rotation that I have them on my back bar a little bit longer. Also, I have my increase your weapon and spell damage, weapon damage enchantment glyph on an infused lightning staff on my front bar, which is the Maelstrom lightning staff, as you see. That 452 spell damage, it's up for 5 seconds at a time when that glyph procs. Now, if you use your... No, it doesn't save on there. Okay, so... what procs a glyph is using the weapon itself with her light and heavy attacks, or if you use a weapon ability. So, like your Blockade of Storms / Unstable Wall of Storm. On your lightning staff. So I'm using the unstable wall. So this goes off for 8 seconds. When I first apply it, it's going to put out my glyph, and after it falls off in 5 seconds, it's going to reapply it because I'm using that infused staff. So this unstable wall is going to reapply my glyph, and as long as I make it back to that bar and reapply my blockade before it falls off, I can have 100% uptime on that 452 spell damage. So just to give you a quick hint, you look at the bars down, you look at the little boxes on the bottom of my screen. When I use this blockade, you're gonna see a little icon pop up there that looks like a little sword, and it'll have a 5-second countdown on it. It'll start at 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then it'll disappear. With this blockade, you will watch, like, well, let me put my pet away. Put my pet away to make this a little bit easier to show you. So if I just light attack, there it is on the bar right there. I get that extra weapon or spell damage right there, but you know, after 5 seconds it drops off. But if I apply my blockade, it does the same exact thing again. But watch, when it comes off, bam, right back up. So as long as my rotation is tight enough to get back to that unstable wall before that glyph falls off, I have a 100% uptime on my weapon damage glyph. So that's 452 more weapon damage. So, not weapon damage, spell damage, sorry. So my spell damage sits at 2241. When I apply this, go back in, I'm at 2721. See how that works? See how it came off and went right back on real quick? Yeah. So you can keep this up 100% of the time with that glyph. And there it goes off. This is why I have my weapon damage, that weapon damage enchantment on my blockade bar on an infused lightning staff. It is providing a good bit of spell damage. Now, when I mix that in, as you can see, my spell damage is 2241. When I hit that and have on my entropy at the same time, my spell damage is now hit 3234. So I have increased my spell damage, what, 1,000? I think it was. No, go away. Making this video longer than it has to be. So with both of those down, I'm at 3234. And then when everything falls off, come on, fall off. Fall off. That entropy lasts a while. As you can see, 2241. So I'm adding almost 1,000 spell damage between just having that glyph on the bar and using my entropy on my opposite bar as well. So that is really improving the. It's going to improve your DPS output at that point. So really, it's really good to have that on that front bar. So I wanted to kind of clear up why I do that. There was a question in the Crusaders Guild about the the glyphs that people were using with their pet sorcs and whatnot, and I wanted to go over, not just tell you why I use what I do. I wanted to explain why as well. So let's call my pet back out. And one last thing I want to go over here as well, in case people don't know it, is a tooltip from your magicka. The higher the maximum magicka you have, the higher tooltip you get. So your damage from your magicka abilities scales off of how much maximum magic you have. The higher it is, the more it hits. From what I understand, I've not done the math myself, but I've done plenty of research, and it all comes back the same, is that for every 10.5 max magicka you have equates to about 1 spell damage of damage on your slotted abilities. So, just to do some math here real quick, 44,852 divided by 10.5. So I'm currently running at about, according to other math that you hear on this game, 4,271 spell damage worth of tooltip on my actual ability. So that leaves my unstable wall running at 1753 a second for 8 seconds, and then blowing up for 7495. My lightning flood's running at 2443 a second for 8 seconds. My pet's doing 1849, and when you activate him, he's doing 3931. My inner light's just there for max magicka. The shooting star, 16,000 damage on impact, and another 5,084 damage every second for 13 seconds. My structured entropy goes for 28,000 over 12 seconds and heals me. My crystal fragment goes for 11,855. Daedric Prey, 10,947. And then 5360 splash damage to nearby enemies. And then that's my pet again. So, let me change it so I can show you. Okay, so on this bar right here, 1849 and 3931. When I go to my back bar, oh, didn't change. Am I tool tipped on both bars? Oh, I am. Okay, so let's do this. Oh yeah, you have the wrong things in the wrong spot. Put that on my back bar. So I have 2 Mage's Guild abilities on my back bar. And let's check this out again now. So my front bar, my pet is doing 1878 and 3992. But on my back bar, he's doing 1824 and 3874. So you see how different amounts of magicka on different bars will change how much damage your abilities can do, and that's a good show of it right there. I got a little bit more maximum magicka on one bar than the other, so it made the pet hit a little bit less hard on one bar and a little harder on the opposite bar. So that is just one of the quick things that I wanted to go over as well. When it comes to building your character, you want to be able to have a good mixture of spell damage and maximum magicka. Just like with a stam character, you want to have a good mix of maximum stamina and weapon damage. So this setup that I have right here seems to do excellent for me. I'm going to real quick switch these back so they're a little bit more static. Equal amounts of magicka on both bars. I'm going to apply my elemental susceptibility, which is basically just the same as if a tank was in here with me sticking it, just so I get similar numbers like what I would see in a dungeon. And you'll get a good look at how this parse looks. Oh, my food wore out. Go figure. Food wore out there, so we got a little bit less damage there towards the end, but 46,672, and I can get even higher numbers than that normally if my food doesn't fall off in the middle of battle. But that is it's really all I got for you guys. I just wanted to kind of showcase what I got going on, why I got going on, and show you exactly why I do it as well. So that's all I got, guys. If there's any questions or whatnot, feel free to hit me up in the guild, leave questions in the comments below, or just hit me up on PlayStation in general. I'm here to help, and I'll do as much as I can to help. But thank you guys very much for everything you do. I appreciate it greatly, and have a good one.